Thank you again, Walter.
I just had to get some office space.
Oh, good. I appreciate you attending, Walter, and I appreciate everyone for attending this disciplinary appeal committee hearing for Danilo Gaspar. Just so everyone is aware, I will be recording this meeting. Go ahead, David.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Walter, for stepping in at the last moment. All right. So this is a discipline appeal committee hearing in relation to a finding of academic misconduct against Mr. Gaspar. He is appealing that finding. Perhaps before we begin, we can just introduce ourselves. My name's David Tanovich, and I'm chair of the Discipline Appeal Committee. I'm also a professor at the law school here at the university. Dr. Atkinson.
Hi there, I'm Sarah. I'm an Associate Dean of Academics in the Faculty of Human Kinetics.
Okay. Walter.
I'm Walter. I am an undergraduate student in the school environment.
Okay. Dr. Buchanan.
Lori Buchanan. I'm the Associate Dean of Faculty of Graduate Studies.
Okay, thank you. And then Ellie. You're on mute.
But something's not.
Can't hear you.
No.
Ellie, we can hear you.
Okay. And then, Mr. Gaspar, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Danilo Gaspar. I'm a graduate student at the Acoustics Laboratory for the University of Windsor.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Ellie? No? Okay. Ellie's here to assist.
Can you guys hear me now?
No.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so hi, I'm just here to assist Danilo with translation and trying to help him out during this processing in this hearing. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So just so we're all on the same page here, Walter, to bring you up to speed, the allegation, the finding below related to 15 citations in Mr. Gaspar's master's thesis. And the university claim and ultimate finding was that these 15 citations were either falsified or created by artificial intelligence. And as a result of the finding, there was a penalty imposed, a sanction, letter of apology, or reflection. So Mr. Gaspar has appealed. He also has, and I'm assuming that Dr. Buchanan, you've had a chance to take a look at this. He has filed what he says are corrected citations for all 15 impugned citations.
I have not had a chance to look at them, but I really don't care to look at them. That from my perspective, putting in real translations is not the same as, these are not corrected in any kind of, they're just different. We could all, any one of us could give new citations.
Sure, so that can be part of your, I mean, that's, that's.
Yes, so I have not seen it. I've
Okay,
not seen
but
it.
you're aware that he's provided the committee with what he says are corrected cites for the 15 disputed citations.
I wasn't aware, but I am now.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, we can start then. Any opening statement that you want to give, Dr. Buchanan, about the findings and about the circumstances that are different from what I've set out and what has been set out in the document filed by you regarding your finding, your will say statement, and the penalty.
I don't have anything more to add, but I will say that the penalty imposed was send a letter of reflection or apology. And given the egregious offense, I think this was a pretty lenient. I mean, I can't imagine anything more lenient. So the fact that we're having this meeting is offensive to me.
to be honest, I'm just gonna put, I don't think Danilo quite understood that, and that's where I'm here to try to help guide him through it. And I'm sorry if you like think that the time is kind of it's a problematic, but I'm trying to help him understand what is needed from him because I think he really did not understand what was needed.
He sent me a note saying, what if I didn't want to send this this dumb apology or something to that effect? He sent a note telling me, asking me what the consequences of him not sending this worthless or stupid apology.
I have
So
not seen that. Can you guys hear me? No, that's a lie.
Yes.
I have not
Okay.
seen that. You might be confused about some other student.
I have the email.
So yeah. So that is not a proof of anything, especially for misconduct.
Okay, so Danilo then, Mr. Gaspar then,
Yeah, I just want to keep like ourselves to the truth, like especially with the Senate, all the rules and everything that's written in there. I think we should all be strictly guided through this all the procedure and everything with that. That's what I'm trying to do here because I have seen many things that are into the bylaws, and people are saying as if they were the righteous person to say whatever they want. As I have sent emails and everything, which I haven't. Like I have never said anything about the imposed things about this misconduct, which I'm offended of being here in the first place. That's why I'm appealing because the only work my supervisor has ever done is filing this appeal against my paper, which he hasn't read um, or commented or worked around it. So in first, I think he's not completely understanding what's his position on the bylaws and everything because he was supposed to be the only one trying to defend my case here, and he even chose Dr. Buchanan to try to push things a little further into my accusations, and he thought I wouldn't be quite capable of defending myself. That's why I also I wasn't sure because I haven't never been through any kind of procedure like this before, even in my country, and I have never been accused of something I didn't do, or like as it states in the bylaw, he should have given me the teachable moments, and like everything else hasn't been followed by the bylaws, so I think there might be a problem here.
all right, well, I'm not sure which bylaw specifically you're referring to. Let's talk about though the allegation that was made against you that these 15 citations were either fabricated or generated by artificial intelligence. Now you have filed a document that has corrected. You say corrects each of the citations, and when I look at the documents, I don't see any resemblance at all to in terms of authors and other things that would at all resemble the original citations that you filed. So what's your explanation for why these corrected citations are, what in fact are they?
Um, all right, so I have a script here, and I would like to read it because I think there's way more information into it than what I could, by heart remember and try to tell. So I will try to attend myself
Okay.
to the script I have written before. Um, I am here as I've been accused of academic misconduct on the delivery of my thesis for my master's degree. First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to defend myself in this case. I had a supporting representation that dropped my case in the last moment, and I could not find legal representation this time for this hearing. So if you have any questions about what I'm going to say, I will be more than happy to clarify. About the report for academic misconduct accusations, I would like to clarify first that as an international student coming to another country, a language barrier is one of the obstacles we face to pursue such degree. I also have to state that I have never published any paper, nor in my mother language or in English. Also, the way we conduct academic papers are different in different countries, as you all know. Brazil, we use A, B, and T for references, and here in University of Windsor, we use APA. I have learned my way through APA, like Google and YouTube and the university format requirements page, as well as other references. But unfortunately, I did not take the academic course on it, which would have me lessen the mistakes through the crafting of my thesis. I have reviewed the bylaw of which I have been accused of infringing, and I disagree that all the steps were taken to avoid that a formal allegation of misconduct were filed against me. It's my understanding that the instructor supervisor who is counseling me through this process would have a word on my mistakes and proper corrections before my defense, as per Bylaw 31, paragraph 4, about allegations of misconduct section as a state as follow: determine the advisability of the educational response. They call it teachable moments in cases where the act is determined to be the result of an oversight, error, or lack of understanding of the expectations on the part of the student. As per the bylaw, in such cases, the teachable moment offered by the instructor, or if the complaint is filed by the adjudicator or by the discipline appeal committee, should be considered to live or filing or pursuing a complaint. Dr. Novak states that on the report of academic misconduct that he noted the day before the defense that the academic references were not correct, and the way they were referenced constituted an academic misconduct. However, there was no communication made to me regarding the appoint issues prior to the defense. There was no opportunity for a teachable moment as per Bylaw 31. In many instances, I have reached out to Dr. Novak seeking for guidance on my paper, and for about 7 months during the period of June 2023 to January 7 of 2024, I sent approximately 15 emails where were sent to Dr. Novak, and he did not reply, or while drafting my thesis, I was going through personal challenges such as working full-time, working as a TA, GA in this case, and trying to be as of assistance to my family, my wife that was pregnant, and my first baby that was on the way. I have used many sources for my research: scientific articles, books, journals, research engines such as Google's AI, and other sources and references. With the use of artificial intelligence, I can request a number of articles on a specific subject along with their references. I verified most of the sources given by the engine, utilized the information on the reference source. However, I failed to verify whether some of the references the engine provide matched properly to the ones I verified and reading. I was verifying and reading. The sources are all accurate. The way I have referenced them in my thesis was wrong, and I can admit that. However, this could not have been easily fixed prior to my defense if it was pointed out by my supervisor. In addition, I would have appreciated to have had the opportunity to have experienced a teachable moment instead of formal hearing to accuse me of misconduct. When I understand that as an honest mistake, it was never my intention to not give the proper credit to the author's books and articles and journals used. I have to reiterate that during the whole process of crafting my thesis, although our references were provided when submitting to Professor Novak for review, there was never any mention of any issues with them. After my defense, I have received the direct instruction to provide the proper references, and I have done so as per my email from May the 1st. Just to close here, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to defend myself today. I strongly maintain that the actions I took do not constitute misconduct as alleged. rather an honest mistake and lack of attention and support. Through this hearing, I have provided information that shows my adherence to academic principles and that there has been a misunderstanding or misinterpretation of my actions. I fully understand and respect the importance of academic integrity, and I have always conducted myself in a manner that reflects this value. This situation has been a significant learning experience, and I am committed to upholding the highest standards of honesty and responsibility, which was demonstrated with the providing of the proper references when requested after my defense. In light of the evidence presented, I respectfully request that you consider dismissing the charges against me once again. And I thank you all for your time and careful consideration of my appeal.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gaspar. So let me ask you some questions then, so that I understand. And so that you understand as well, this is essentially a fresh hearing. And we have to make a determination about whether the finding was reasonable and whether the sanction imposed was reasonable. So the first question I have for you is, my understanding is that you were provided with multiple opportunities during the thesis defense process and then after to correct or verify the sources, and that you refused to do so. Is that correct or incorrect?
Incorrect.
Okay. And then my second question for you then is, so you've given us these, now you've given us these, what you say are corrected sites, and there's 15 of them. And I guess what concerns me is that the authors are different, the dates are different, and the number. I could appreciate if it was one site that was mistaken. That's an honest mistake. But when you have 15 and they don't look anything like the original ones in terms of the author or the dates, that gives rise to the concern that these original sites were not, in fact, true. Either, as was alleged, they are falsified or generated improperly by artificial intelligence.
Which
How do you
is
respond to that?
Contained into the bylaws. Sorry to interrupt. Even though generated artificial intelligence or whatever, it isn't mentioned into the bylaws the way I have been accused of. So that's another thing, that it is strictly into the bylaws, and it's not been mentioned in any case here. Like, there isn't any specific words being used that is being used in the bylaws, that is being used to accuse me of misconduct here. Because just to put another perspective, as I have mentioned before, I have written the paper reading all the references, but I had some references for placeholder instead. So I would, keep those places for the references I have already written, because it isn't easy when someone asks you to change chapter 2 for chapter 3, and you have lots of references and things. So writing a thesis is a pretty complex endeavor, and although looks like, oh, he has placed the name of the person is John Doe, literally, and it was just a placeholder. So if you want to accuse me of falsifying John Doe name, which there isn't anyone called like that, for a paper he hasn't written, which it isn't offending anyone in any case, it's just the lack of my supervisor reading my thesis, and he's actually going against himself when he's accusing me of that, because his laboratory is the responsible for my thesis on an overall scale.
Okay, I'll turn it over to the rest of the committee if they have any questions for Mr. Gaspar, and then we'll hear any response from Dr. Buchanan. Walter?
Yes, hi. You mentioned in your statement that you believe that there was some kind of like procedural irregularity, or that you were not afforded all the process outlined in the bylaws. Could you go into that a little bit more and like explain what exactly was not afforded to you, or what you think has been violated?
So the professor states here in the accusation that he has talked to me. And below, explicitly, there is a field for him to fill with the date he has met with me. But he has never met with me, so he has never filled that form properly. So the form isn't filled properly. The accusation he's going against me with a paper from Sydney, Australia, a university in Sydney, Australia, which there isn't any technical details of how they did the paper and so on. So he's accusing me with no evidence at all.
I'm sorry,
Mm.
that was not really the question. I'm just going to speak Portuguese so he can understand. Just a moment, okay? O que ele está querendo dizer é que você tem que falar o porquê que você disse que ele não te deu as oportunidades devidas para você fazer correções antes da defesa. O que você tem que falar é que você, quando o professor ele te falou, ele fez o academic report of misconduct, que ele não te deu a oportunidade de você se corrigir antes de você ser acusado formalmente. É isso que você tem que falar, ok?
So before we all noticed, because honestly, like I have stated this before, but I have not noticed that the references were misplaced or they were filled with the placeholders, as I told before. So there were like references in their places, but I had the right references since the beginning because I read them. So instead of coming to me or saying anything about that, there isn't like um, there isn't any comment from his part, his behalf, saying that I have committed any there was any problem with my thesis. He was just complaining about my formulas and so because he wanted to demise my work, and which doesn't really account here because, as I have told before, the only work he has really put into my graduate studies was filling this form against me, which is going against his laboratory in the first place. And as I have stated, for 7 months I have tried to reply to him like more than 15 emails. He has never replied back to me, and there isn't any email or comment in my files that shows he has told me before that my references were wrong. So because he has never read my paper in the first place, that's the whole thing that's going on here. So I'm being accused by someone that has never read my paper just because you want to discriminate me somehow.
David, is it okay if I ask a follow-up question?
Sure.
Of course, I understand what you're saying is that the professor has not given you the adequate support here, correct?
Yes.
Is there any reason that you can think of or point to or anything that has happened between you and the professor that might show that he is not invested in you or that he is acting against you?
To me, feels like I haven't done anything, but he knew who I was since the beginning, because one day he came to me and started to yell, and like during the graduate seminar, which it isn't like it even a class, which I have to take grades or so. I just have to watch the seminars from other students, and he didn't want to let me sign the sheet, the attendance sheet, and I asked him why. He said, because you came 20 minutes late. I said, that's a lie. And he got frustrated because I told him he was lying.
Okay, maybe I'll just interject. So, Mr. Gaspar, just so that you're clear too, I mean, all of that really is irrelevant at this stage because we're hearing this afresh. We're hearing this, and so that's not really all that relevant. And frankly, has been pointed out, the sanction that was imposed, a letter of apology, I mean, even if this was a case of carelessness, a letter of apology or reflection, is what would be expected. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, given the nature of, if there are 15 instances of fraudulent citations, one would expect the normal penalty would be, basically a rejection of the thesis, but that didn't happen in your case. So the fact that you didn't get the support you think you needed is largely irrelevant, since at the end of the day, the sanction that was opposed was simply a letter of reflection. Danny, maybe it would assist everybody if you could share your screen with the document that Mr. Gaspar has provided with the corrected sites. What he says is the corrected sites.
Yep,
I
give
have
me
it
one.
here, if you all wanna, I could show it as well. Like, I don't know if Danny would mind.
Give me 1 second. I'm just going to pull up his disclosure documents, David.
Okay.
Danilo, de novo, só para te falar, você tem que se ater à questão de que ele te deu o documento e não te deu a oportunidade de você corrigir antes de te acusar. Você tem que falar isso. Você não falou isso até agora, você está falando um monte de asneira, pelo amor de Deus.
David, meanwhile, I found the email where Danilo said that he wanted to know what would happen if he didn't follow through with the shallow apology I requested. I
Okay.
don't know if I should forward that so the committee can see it, or if it's really relevant. I just don't like to be told that I'm not telling the truth. I also need some explanation in case I don't follow this shallow apologizing procedure. What is going to happen? Since you're unbiased, I need to know what the best way is to proceed in my case. So it isn't that he didn't know he had to apologize.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. I mean, I'm not sure how relevant that is, but we'll take it as that the email exists.
And I have a question for Danilo. Danilo, you said that you never got emails from your advisor for months, but is it not the case that you had weekly meetings with him and a secretary where he had the secretary record the minutes for the meetings?
Yeah, after January. So for 7 months, I have messaged him many times. Also because he has placed me into the laboratory where no other students is assigned to, so I had no one else to ask anything. And for 7 months, I was working on my own in this laboratory, which is full of boxes. I call it deposit. And so after January, I messaged the dean, and he asked for all our meetings to be weekly, and we had someone transcribing everything. And I'm still requesting for Dr. Das, which is the dean, for the transcribed documents he has been taken during those meetings, because I'm pretty sure not any useful information is being filled into those documents of transcription. And I have all the recordings because I have recorded all the meetings as well, and I could, double check the transcription.
Okay, I just wanted to check to make sure that I wasn't wrong, that you've been having weekly meetings with them. And he did send you a totally edited version of your thesis that you chose not to use, because he sent it to me. I assume he sent it to you.
He might have sent it to you, but not to me. And I don't know if you understood that, but I'll repeat it again. I'm with Dr. Novak for 17 months, and for 7 months he hasn't replied to any of my emails. And then for the last, after January 2024, we had the winter term with the weekly meetings. So for 4 months, I was really having someone pretending to be my supervisor, because he wouldn't, as I said, comment or put my work forward. And
Okay,
just
so
for
so
formatting
here is the,
purposes.
thank you, Danny. So here is the document that Mr. Gaspar has provided. So there's 15 of these sites, and you see what was in the thesis on the not correct column, and then you see the corrected. So I guess again, looking at this, I don't see you keep referring to things as placeholders. I don't. Where do you see these as placeholders? You've got authors that are completely different in your corrected site. You've got dates, and the dates, are dates in the future. So the number 10, for example, is a 2023 article. You say the incorrect site's 2021. So if you go through all of these sites, the authors are different, the dates are different, the titles are different. I don't see how I don't see here where this is about misunderstanding, negligence, placeholding. I mean, these are completely different sites, and the only reasonable inference, speaking for myself, is that these original citations don't exist.
Would it be better if
Would
I
it be
had
better
written
if I had
a lot in
written
Epson
a lot in Epson?
instead? That would be a more considerable placeholder.
Sorry, what was that? I didn't follow that.
The regular placeholder for website creation and so on. It's a yeah. Forget it.
I think he meant the, I don't know if you guys are aware, when you're just putting a phony text, you use the lorem, which is the Greek words just there to hold something and then put something else. And he's saying that he used some sort of reference there, just that mean nothing for them to get the correct reference to put it on, and he didn't. And then he used the placeholder and never changed the information there. That's what he meant.
Oh, Walter.
Okay.
So they might not know what is lorem ipsum.
Okay. I'm sorry, there's still, let's go back to the questions. Sarah, do you have some questions for Mr. Gaspar?
Sarah, you're on
Oh,
mute.
okay, sorry. Yeah, because if you were using a placeholder, which I can understand when writing, I think, that's not a question. But the not corrected column, these are not even articles. I've looked them up. I Googled them type thing, and they don't exist in any format. So how did you come up with them? Instead of just saying John Doe or go back or, whatever. How did you even come up with this particular title, author combination, journals, etc.?
Yes, as I have mentioned before, I have used many search tools in this endeavor, and one of the search tools I have used, which it isn't stating in any document or bylaw by the university, it is AI. I haven't copied any information from them, but I have requested papers, and I have noticed that they weren't going anywhere because some of them didn't existed, and I used some of them as a placeholder because they had quite similar titles, and I could find myself afterwards. So it was my own way of organizing a huge mass of 140 pages master thesis.
Okay, so you are admitting you used AI to at least find articles, generate not text. Plagiarism is not on the line here, but that you used it to, I guess, help formulate some ideas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Dr. Buchanan?
You might be on mute.
Danny,
Lori.
yeah. So, Danilo, you're saying now that these were generated from AI, but when we spoke originally, you said you did not use AI. So I'm wondering if you misspoke then or you're misspeaking now, but our conversation when we originally spoke about this, you said that you didn't use AI. So which is the truth?
Sorry, I'm not following. Which conversation are you talking about?
When I asked you originally about these documents, and after your committee asked you about these documents, you were pretty adamant that you hadn't used AI. So now I'm surprised to hear you say that these citations did come from AI. So I'm just wondering which of these is true, because you told me and your committee, I believe, that you didn't use AI.
No, I have told everyone the same thing. I have used search tools for my research, which it isn't against any or classified as misconduct in any document that I have read. So it isn't about the AI use or tools that I have used. It's about the misconduct, I guess.
Okay, well, that's the answer to my question is that this is generated from AI, and that you said earlier that it wasn't generated from AI. Was you misspeaking?
I don't recall of me saying it wasn't generated by AI. And as
Okay,
I have
I
said
do
before,
recall that. I do recall that,
mm,
but thank you. That was my question.
yeah, no problem.
Okay, so Mr. Gaspar then, since you have admitted that these citations don't exist, you submitted a thesis document with the citations that don't exist. That in and of itself is academic misconduct. You receive the lightest penalty that's available for such an infraction. So can you help us then in terms of why you say there shouldn't be a finding of academic misconduct?
Because you all are not following with the procedures stated by the bylaws of the states.
I guess I would agree to the extent that this was much more lenient than would be expected by the bylaws. And in that instance, I would be happy to increase the sanctions to the full extent that I'm able. And in that case, I would say that you should be expelled from the university, but I don't know that that's what we are doing here. But you are right that this is not, strictly speaking, in alignment with the bylaws, but only to the extent that I could not have been more lenient. And I think you should have reflected a bit on that.
Okay, well, I don't have any more questions. If any of the other committee members have questions for either Dr. Buchanan or Mr. Gaspar.
I have a question. Why is Dr. Novak allowed to choose the adjudicator for this hearing, while he was the one that should be protecting me and his laboratory from being accused of falsifying something, which in this case, I think he should be writing a letter as well of apology at minimum.
Well, that's neither here nor there. That's not really something, as I said, Mr. Gaspar, we're considering this afresh, essentially, which is why Dr. Buchanan is absolutely correct that theoretically we could impose a much more serious sanction than was imposed at first instance. So the fact, regardless of whether you think that there were provisions of the original bylaw that weren't followed, you haven't pointed to anything in terms of the jurisdiction of this committee and the bylaw governing this committee that has not been followed. And so we're going to be making a finding afresh. So I'm not sure that's all. Your supervisor's conduct, to be honest with you, may be relevant on the issue of penalty. And you've made your submissions, and we understand your submissions, but it doesn't really impact the underlying conduct here that you've been accused of.
To be clear, though, Danilo, oh, some kind of echo. Dr. Novak didn't select me. I do this because I am the Associate Dean of Graduate Studies, and all academic misconduct at the graduate level comes to me. Dr. Novak doesn't have any choice but to send it to me, and I don't know why it would matter that it's me and not someone else. This had nothing to do with Dr. Novak's choice.
But he put your name into the form. That's what I'm saying. I felt like he chose you for some reason.
You're mistaken.
Okay.
And
Anyone else have any questions or comments?
on the teachable moments, if you open the document from the bylaw, and there is a model of teachable moments, there is a specifics on the teachable moments where it is specified in case the student didn't have a valid reference. This is applied for the teachable moments, and that's another thing that wasn't done. So I mean, like, the teachable moment itself wasn't done, and the thing is exactly what's going on here. We have some references that wasn't found, and the teachable moment in this specific case, it is mentioning exactly that. So I don't know why it wasn't
I
done
believe
like
the
that.
committee, I believe the committee gave you a day after your defense to come up with the citation. So that you didn't do that was your teachable moment.
That's correct, Mr. Gaspar. It seems to me, based on the record here, you had plenty of opportunities along the way to correct this, offer an explanation for why these original sites were used and how they were used, and you didn't take that opportunity up. That's the teachable. That would be a teachable moment. So.
But I couldn't notice it before, and my supervisor didn't as well, and there were no time for me to change or available time for me to do any refurbishing in the text. So it went over that way also because he said I wasn't supposed to defend on that day, which it isn't, again, what the bylaw says. The bylaw says I should be only defending if my supervisor allows me to, and I managed to defend without him allowing to, especially because he wasn't even reading my paper, so he would never allow me to do anything. And honestly, to me, feels like we should all be grateful that I'm here at this university, doing such a great job in research, which it is for the benefit of all in the future, not just like my own career and so my family, but for the benefit of everyone. But I don't think I'm being um, receiving enough of empathy from everyone here because as an example I try to show my family is if I asked you to write um, um, Adam and Eve or any book from the go and say you need to write 100 pages book, what would you write about? And it's a pretty hard and intense endeavor, and to write about something that is real, it is scientific, and it's full of um, full of intellectual properties. I think everyone here should be grateful that I'm trying to do it, and I managed to actually accomplish a very good work even without support. But if you think that costs my whole investment, and I'm not really um, good enough for the university, I can see that. I won't be complaining.
I'm wondering if we could just get clarification, I guess, on you used AI to do the citations, right? You knew that citations made by AI were in your paper, but you submitted it with the AI citations still in the paper, knowing they did not exist, correct?
Just to try to explain, I have used the AI as a search tool so I would be able to find the specifics about, because if I my research is very specific into the concrete and piezoelectric fields, and if you search either of those topics on Google, it will show things that doesn't really relate to what I'm researching. So I wanted a more specific tool to search specific papers that relate those topics I'm trying to put here. So I have used the AI to generate
Mm-hmm.
those references, but I noticed that the references were not going anywhere, and I managed to change all of them, because there is 44 references. All of them is working except for those 15, which were placed on the last month. And what I would do is I would search those references afterwards to validate them, and I found the real paper, and I had them into a specific tab on my computer. So I would not, and when I used the references, it wasn't like, oh, I didn't notice it was wrong. I noticed, but as I have used them, I had the paper open in a tab. I could not, I didn't remember to change them before submitting the final thesis. So it isn't something like, oh, he has not read the papers and so on, which I have already provided those papers right now, so they are all there. And even if they wanted to remove all those references from my paper, which wouldn't change anything, because the whole paper endeavor were after the second chapter, which is literature review. And if you try to do a literature review without having anyone to talk about anything, it's like reading a book, and you like so much, but you don't know anyone that reads the same book or read the same book, and you can mention about it. So you have that information, you're so happy with the book, but you can't really talk to anyone about it. So there isn't any review to be done when you're working all on your own. So I was expecting
Okay,
for
thank you,
someone to
sir.
read my paper to have a good review.
Thank you, sir. I think I understand.
Okay. All right. If there are no further questions,
There is a question from Ally, I think.
Yeah, I was just trying to understand the timeline here, because I think I missed that. When Danilo goes to the defense, because that's what I understood from what he told me. When he goes to the defense, and he got notified that the references were incorrect, he was then sent an email to deal with the references wrong and to provide the reply with the correct references, which he did the very next day. He was given, I think, one business day, and he did fulfill that one business day. And after that, my understanding is that then the professor filed for academic misconduct. And when, from what he was saying right now, per my understanding, the bylaw requires that the professor gives him the opportunity to try to fix it before making a formal accusation. Is that something that should have been done? Is this something that I'm missing information in the middle? Because that's my understanding, that when he was given the opportunity to fix it and he fixed it, why would he still be accused of academic misconduct even though he fixed the issues?
So that's not exactly correct. Here's what happened. Uh, he was given an opportunity during his defense. He was asked directly, do these citations exist? He said, yes, they do exist. They're the correct citations during his defense. And then the committee gave him an opportunity to find them during the defense. He failed to do that, and they said to him, do these papers exist at your house? And he said, yes, they do exist in my house. I can get them to you tomorrow. And then he didn't get them tomorrow. So at no time did he say, oh, these don't exist. They were just I just put them in instead of using the more common put citation here or reference. I made up full citations with DOIs. At no time did he say that. He just said they existed. And when the committee said, send them to us tomorrow, he didn't send them tomorrow. And then they went forward with the sanctions.
I have a file and the emails that prove that I have submitted. The thing is, they aren't the same references that is written because it's written John Doe, which isn't like a person. It's just a placeholder, but nobody's really taking care of it.
Okay, so do you understand now, Ally? He was given an opportunity to supply the references that he said existed, and he didn't do that. That was the teachable moment, or the opportunity for him to say, these were just placeholders.
I understand, but I
Okay.
did see the email of him the very next day to the professors with the correct references. Even though he sent it within time requested, it would still not made a difference from
Well,
the accusation to the panel.
No, it wouldn't, because this is not. So the teachable moment is usually for something like there's one reference that somebody forgot to put quotation marks around something. So you say, okay, well, I'm not going to charge you for that. This is a teachable moment. You always put quotation marks. It's not using AI to write a thesis and not owning up to it. Like this is a serious offense. This could get, if he had published this paper, it could have got him and his professor and the faculty and the university all in a lot of trouble. This is a huge problem, and this goes beyond I forgot to put quotation marks around something, which is the typical kind of teachable moment. A teachable moment is not something that is required in every case. It's actually rarely used and only used in minor infractions, not something like this.
My understanding too, in terms of the timeline, is that that document that Danny shared was only recently produced. Am I correct?
No, the references since the beginning, I have sent them to, I have a file with all the references in PDF, which is the whole file. It is about like 100 megabytes. So I did this list because I felt like I wasn't being heard. So I did a very highlighted text in a table where people could literally see the page and what I have written, and there isn't any AI generated text in there because it was all written by me.
This was not the same table that we're seeing today. This was, here is a list of every paper on the topic. You pick the ones that you think are relevant. I believe that's what was originally sent.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, well, the committee will now deliberate and decide what to do with the case. And Mr. Gaspar, you'll have a decision back from us within 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right, so thank you for coming today and giving us your submissions, and we heard what you said, and we'll take everything you've said into consideration in deciding what to do.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you all for giving
Okay.
me this opportunity to speak out about what's going on and cowardly actions of my supervisor.
Okay, Ellie, thank you for assisting. And
Thank you
Dr.
all.
Buchanan, thank you for coming today.
Yeah, best of luck.
Thank you all.
Okay, so the committee will stay on